Loving yourself more than anyone else isn't selfish. It's survival, it's power, and it's the first step to living your best life. Have you ever stopped to think about how much energy you give to everyone else while silently ignoring your own needs? How often do you let doubts, fear, or past mistakes control your day instead of trusting yourself? Most people go through life bending for others, seeking approval, and losing sight of their own value. That stops today. In this video, you will learn how to take care of your mind when it feels unsafe, protect your heart from those who don't see your pain, and stand up for your needs even when others push them aside. You'll discover how to lift yourself when negative thoughts hit, trust your instincts when you feel lost, and build habits that make you stronger every single day. By the end of this guide, you won't just feel better, you'll act better, think clearer, and finally put yourself first in a way that changes your life completely. It's time to stop waiting for others and start choosing yourself every single day. Chapter 1. Choose yourself first when your feelings begin to break. When life starts pressing in, when emotions feel heavy and everything inside feels like it's on the edge, the most important choice you can make is to choose yourself. Not tomorrow, not later, not after you've fixed everything else. Choose yourself right now. This is not selfishness. This is survival. This is the foundation for every other success and every other relationship. The truth is, if you do not stand for yourself first, everything else will crumble under the weight of unspoken needs, unhealed wounds, and unresolved pain. You must decide that your feelings, your health, your growth, your peace of mind matter above all else. This is the first act of love that will define every moment after. Choosing yourself begins with awareness. It begins with noticing how you feel before you react. It begins with slowing down enough to identify the signals your body and mind are sending you. When your energy dips, when your heart feels heavy, when your mind races with worry, these are not moments to ignore. These are moments to pause, breathe, and acknowledge that something inside of you requires attention. Most people ignore these signals because they are trained to prioritize everyone else. They think their value is measured by how much they give, how much they endure, how much they sacrifice. That thinking is flawed. Your value is measured by how well you honor yourself, how fully you recognize and protect your own emotional and mental well-being. Once awareness is established, the next step is action. Choosing yourself requires saying no to what drains you. It requires stepping away from conversations, commitments, or environments that chip away at your sense of worth. It requires turning your back on comparison, judgment, and criticism. Too often people stay in situations or relationships that hurt them because they fear being alone, because they fear conflict, or because they fear change. Choosing yourself demands courage. It demands the understanding that being alone with your truth is far more valuable than being surrounded by comfort that comes at the expense of your peace. Choosing yourself also means forgiving yourself. People hold on to regret, shame, and guilt as though carrying them makes them stronger. It does not. It only makes you weaker. You must allow yourself to make mistakes and understand that each misstep is an opportunity to learn and grow. Self-forgiveness is not a one-time event. It is a practice, a continuous reaffirmation that your life and your choices are worthy, even when they are imperfect. When your feelings begin to break, forgiveness is the glue that holds you together while you rebuild. Self-care is another pillar of choosing yourself. But this is not about indulgence or comfort. This is about building strength, resilience, and clarity. Feed your body with nutritious food that gives you energy. Move in ways that strengthen your muscles, lungs, and heart. Sleep in a way that restores your mind and body. Protect your mental space by limiting toxic media, negative people, and draining conversations. Your body and mind are the only permanent vehicles you have. Choosing yourself means treating these vehicles with respect, care, and diligence. It means refusing to run on empty for the sake of pleasing others. Mental clarity is just as essential. Choosing yourself demands that you recognize your thoughts, your beliefs, and your stories, and examine them honestly. So many people live under invisible scripts written by others, parents, peers, society, culture, and they never question them. You must question them. You must ask yourself, do these beliefs serve me, or do they limit me? Do these thoughts lift me, or do they chain me to doubt? Choosing yourself means breaking free from mental patterns that diminish your self-worth. It means building habits of thought that reinforce your confidence, your capability, and your vision for the life you deserve. Emotional boundaries are a cornerstone. Choosing yourself means protecting your emotions from unnecessary attack. Not everyone is equipped to treat you with respect, kindness, and understanding. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect your inner peace. This requires practice. It requires saying no without guilt. It requires stepping away from people who constantly bring negativity into your space. It requires allowing yourself to feel fully, without judgment, while refusing to let anyone else dictate your emotional state. Your emotions are yours. Guard them as you would guard your life, because in many ways they are the life force of your inner world. Choosing yourself also requires valuing your time. Time is the one resource you can never get back. When your feelings begin to break, notice where you spend your energy. Are you giving it to people who appreciate it, to work that fulfills you, to projects that build your future? Or are you scattering it in directions that leave you exhausted and empty? Choosing yourself means prioritizing your own goals, dreams, and growth over pleasing others. It means honoring your own schedule, your own needs, and your own growth before anyone else's agenda. This is not arrogance, it is a necessary act of responsibility. Another critical step is cultivating self-respect. Self-respect is not granted by others. It is earned through your choices, actions, and consistency. When you choose yourself in moments of challenge, when you refuse to let others diminish your worth, when you protect your values and principles, you are building self-respect. Self-respect is the foundation of confidence. It is the lens through which every other relationship and opportunity will be evaluated. Without it, you will always feel second-hand in your own life. With it, you carry yourself with dignity and clarity that others naturally recognize. Choosing yourself means committing to growth. You must become a lifelong student of your own life. Read books that inspire your mind and elevate your understanding. Listen to speakers who challenge you to think bigger. Surround yourself with people who encourage, challenge, and expand your perspective. Growth is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront weaknesses and limitations. But without growth, choosing yourself remains shallow. True choice of self is not just protection. It is expansion. It is saying yes to becoming better, stronger, wiser, and more capable every single day. Finally, choosing yourself requires action in the moment. Awareness, understanding, and planning mean nothing if not acted upon. When your feelings begin to break, pause, recognize, forgive, care, protect, and then act. Take small steps, but take them. Speak your truth. Set your boundary. Nourish your mind and body. Walk away from what harms you. Invest in what lifts you. Every action you take is a statement that your life matters, that your peace matters, that your happiness matters. And when you consistently choose yourself, you model for others how to live fully, bravely, and honestly. The journey of choosing yourself is not one time. It is a daily practice. Some days will be easier than others. Some days you will fall back into old patterns, doubt your choices, or feel guilty. That is human. What defines you is not the fall. It is the return. It is standing up again and choosing yourself despite fear, fatigue, or frustration. Over time, this repeated act strengthens your mind, sharpens your emotional resilience, and solidifies a life built on your own terms. Choosing yourself is not about turning your back on the world. It is about showing up in the world from a place of strength, clarity and love. When you are whole and centered, you can give more freely, love more authentically, and engage more meaningfully. But if you are broken, depleted, or neglected, everything you give is diluted and every relationship suffers. The simple truth is that the foundation of every meaningful life begins with self-love, self-respect, and self-prioritization. Choosing yourself is the most powerful decision you will ever make. It is the decision that protects your heart, builds your confidence, strengthens your resilience, and guides your life with purpose. Your feelings are valid, your needs are real, and your life is worth defending. When you choose yourself first, when your feelings begin to break, you are not abandoning anyone or anything. You are becoming the person capable of sustaining every meaningful connection, achievement and dream you desire. Commit to yourself to recognize the power you hold in choosing your own peace, health, and growth. Protect it, nurture it, and act on it without hesitation. Your life does not require permission or approval. It requires courage, consistency, and love for yourself above all else. Signed. When you live this way, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every day a step forward in the life you were meant to lead. This is not theory. This is practice. Choose yourself when your feelings begin to break. Do it repeatedly. Do it intentionally. Do it unapologetically. Your life, your happiness, and your future depend on it more than you realize. And the moment you fully embrace this practice, you will feel a power, a peace, and a freedom that no one and nothing can ever take away.
Chapter 2. Give your mind support when it starts feeling unsafe. When your mind starts feeling unsafe, it sends signals in subtle ways. It may feel restless, anxious, or doubtful. Thoughts may swirl uncontrollably, convincing you that nothing is certain, that danger is around every corner, or that you are not capable of handling what lies ahead. In these moments, the mind is not your enemy, but it is calling for guidance. Just like a child seeking reassurance, your mind needs support when it trembles. And giving it that support is not optional if you want to live a life of clarity, confidence, and peace. Supporting your mind begins with recognition. You must notice when the inner dialogue turns dark or fearful. Many people live with anxiety or worry for years without realizing that the thoughts themselves are not facts. They are signals. They are indicators that your mental state requires care and attention. When the mind feels unsafe, it is asking for structure, perspective, and nurturing. Ignoring these signals does not make them disappear. It makes them louder and more disruptive. One of the most effective ways to support a mind in distress is to slow down and focus on the present moment. The human mind is powerful, but it is also highly suggestible. When it fixates on imagined threats or future uncertainties, it creates a false sense of danger. Bringing attention back to the here and now helps to ground the mind. Simple practices like paying attention to your breathing, noticing the environment around you, or consciously naming objects you can see, hear, and feel can create immediate stability. These actions are small, but they reinforce a message to your mind. You are safe right now, and you have control over how you respond. Thoughts become chaotic, and emotions swing unpredictably. You must counteract this by simplifying and organizing your mental space. Write down your thoughts. Break problems into smaller, manageable pieces. Prioritize your actions. Clarity gives your mind a framework to operate safely within. It reassures the mental processes that they are not lost or powerless. Support is not only comfort, it is direction. Your mind also requires nurturing through knowledge and understanding. Fear and insecurity often stem from ignorance or misunderstanding. When the mind feels unsafe, educate it, inform it, and provide it with reliable information. Reading, listening,
or observing, can equip your mind with tools to navigate uncertainty. The more prepared your mind feels, the safer it becomes. Confidence grows from competence. Even small, consistent steps to learn and understand your surroundings can drastically reduce the chaos within your head. Connection is another layer of support. Isolation amplifies fear and instability. Talking with someone you trust can release pressure and help your mind process emotions constructively. Even listening to another person's perspective can help shift mental patterns from chaos to order. The mind thrives in reassurance and understanding. When you allow safe connections into your life, your mind no longer carries burdens alone. Support comes not just from yourself, but from a network that reinforces stability and perspective. Physical habits have a profound effect on mental safety. Your mind and body are deeply intertwined. Sleep deprivation, poor nutrition, and lack of movement all contribute to heightened mental insecurity. Supporting your mind means taking care of the body that hosts it. Eat food that nourishes energy and clarity. Exercise in ways that release stress and tension. Sleep enough to recharge cognitive function and emotional resilience. These tangible actions communicate to your mind that its environment is secure and capable. When the body is strong, the mind feels anchored. Self-compassion plays a vital role in supporting a fragile mind. Too often, when fear arises, people criticize themselves for feeling weak or anxious. This only reinforces instability. Instead, approach your mind with patience and understanding. Remind yourself that vulnerability is part of being human. Comfort your mental processes with affirmations of capability, resilience, and courage. Speaking kindly to yourself may feel awkward at first, but it is one of the most powerful ways to establish safety and trust within. Your mind also needs limits. When unsafe thoughts arise, it is tempting to let them run unchecked. But boundaries are essential. Decide what thoughts you allow to dominate and which ones you redirect. Recognize when worry or doubt is spiraling and consciously intervene. Replace harmful thoughts with actionable plans or positive reflections. Directing your mind actively sends a signal that you are in charge and that fear does not dictate your reality. Control is empowering, and empowerment restores safety. Environment matters more than most people realize. Surround yourself with spaces that reinforce calmness and focus. Cluttered, chaotic, or tense environments make an anxious mind feel even more vulnerable. Create spaces that communicate order and tranquility. Light, sound, and structure all influence mental security. Even small adjustments like organizing a desk, reducing noise, or creating a quiet corner can significantly improve how safe your mind feels. When the environment is stable, the mind feels it can relax and function efficiently. Daily routines build trust with your mind. When your mind experiences consistency, it knows what to expect. Routines reduce uncertainty and create patterns of safe, simple practices like consistent sleep schedules, planned meals, regular exercise, and time for reflection communicate to your mind that you are reliable and that life is manageable. Trust is built over time through repeated action. The mind feels safer when it knows you are consistent, deliberate, and attentive. Visualization is a tool often overlooked. When the mind feels unsafe, imagine scenarios where you handle challenges successfully. Practice mentally navigating potential obstacles with confidence. This is not pretending, but rehearsing capability. By mentally preparing for difficulties, your mind begins to internalize stability. It starts to see itself as competent rather than fragile. This kind of mental rehearsal strengthens neural pathways associated with calm, clarity, and problem solving. Support also comes from intentional media consumption. The mind is influenced by what it sees, hears, and negative news, toxic social media, or fear-based narratives can amplify feelings of insecurity. Choose content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Protect your mind from external chaos, just as you would from internal chaos. Feeding the mind with constructive input reinforces safety and nurtures resilience. Perspective is critical. Often, the mind feels unsafe because it magnifies problems or misinterprets events. Step back and ask what is factual versus imagined. Challenge catastrophic thinking. Break large problems into smaller steps. Remind yourself of past challenges you have overcome. Perspective is a stabilizer for the mind. It prevents panic, reduces stress, and fosters rational thinking. A supported mind understands reality clearly, rather than reacting to imagined threats. Gratitude is surprisingly effective. When your mind feels threatened, focusing on what is working in your life shifts attention from danger to security. Write down 3 things you appreciate daily. Reflect on past successes, supportive relationships, and personal strength. Gratitude communicates to your mind that life is not only safe, but rewarding. Even in difficult times, acknowledging what is positive fosters resilience and reduces fear. Mindfulness practices reinforce support further. Simple exercises like focusing on breath, observing thoughts without judgment, or walking intentionally can center a restless mind. Mindfulness is not complicated. It is simply paying full attention to the present in a non-critical way. By practicing this regularly, your mind learns that it does not need to react impulsively to every worry or fear. Safety becomes internalized rather than dependent on external circumstances. When the mind feels unsafe, decision-making can become paralyzed. Support it by simplifying choices, reduce options, clarify priorities, and focus on immediate actionable steps. Decision paralysis feeds fear. Acting decisively, even in small matters, reassures the mind that you are competent and capable. Momentum is safe. Forward movement, no matter how small, signals to your mind that it can trust your judgment. Finally, understand that supporting your mind is not a one-time effort. It is a daily, deliberate practice. Your mind is not inherently fragile, but without support it can become overwhelmed by life's pressures. Show it patience, structure, education, kindness, perspective, and consistency. Protect it from harmful influences. Nurture it with knowledge and routines, and provide it with constant reassurance. Over time, your mind will internalize these messages and operate from a place of security, confidence, and clarity. Supporting your mind transforms your life. When you learn to give your mind safety, stability, and guidance, fear diminishes. Decisions become clearer, emotions more balanced, and actions more deliberate. Life stops feeling like a series of threats and begins to feel like a series of opportunity. Every moment of support you give your mind is an investment in resilience, wisdom, and peace. The process is continuous. Days will come when fear and uncertainty creep in again. That is normal. What matters is that you have trained your mind to recognize, respond, and recover. Each supportive action builds strength, and over time, you will face challenges with calm assurance, rather than panic. Supporting your mind when it feels unsafe is not weakness. It is the most powerful form of self-respect, preparation, and love you can give yourself. When the mind knows it is safe, the entire life benefits. Energy is freed for creativity, growth, and meaningful connections. Fear loses its grip, and clarity becomes the dominant state. By committing to these practices, awareness, routines, education, connection, boundaries, environment, and perspective, you establish a foundation that no external circumstance can easily shake. Support your mind today, protect it, nurture it, guide it,
and reassuring. Build habits that reinforce safety, strength, and stability. Treat it with the same care you would give a precious asset, because, in truth, your mind is the most valuable resource you have. When you do this consistently, you will feel an unshakable sense of calm, confidence, and power in every area of life. Supporting your mind is a declaration. It is a statement to yourself and the world that you are capable of handling challenges, that you are worthy of peace, and that you are committed to living fully and wisely. Each thought you guide, each habit you create, and each moment of patience you give reinforces this truth. And so, when your mind begins to feel unsafe, act decisively. Provide structure, clarity, connection, and care. Every action reinforces safety. Every habit strengthens resilience. Over time, these daily practices become second nature, and your mind learns to trust itself. When that happens, life becomes easier to navigate, emotions more manageable, and opportunities more visible. Safety within your mind is the gateway to freedom, success, and lasting fulfillment.
Chapter 3. Protect your heart from people who ignore your pain. Your heart is your most valuable asset. It is the center of your emotional world, the source of your love, empathy, and connection. Yet, too often, people allow their hearts to be exposed to those who dismiss, ignore, or diminish their pain. This is one of the most common causes of unnecessary suffering. Protecting your heart is not about shutting yourself off from others. It is about learning discernment, establishing boundaries, and recognizing the difference between those who genuinely care and those who cannot or will not see your struggles. When you honor your own pain, you use space for healing and growth. When you allow your heart to be trampled, you reinforce patterns of disappointment and hurt that can follow you for years. The first step in protecting your heart is acknowledgement. Recognize your pain fully and honestly. Many people pretend to be fine or convince themselves that their feelings are not valid. Denial may provide temporary relief, but it does not protect you. Pain left unrecognized festers and weakens your ability to set boundaries. By acknowledging your pain, you send a signal to your own heart that it matters, that your experiences are real, and that you deserve attention and care. This is the foundation of self-respect and emotional resilience. Once you have acknowledged your pain, the next step is evaluation. Examine the people around you carefully. Observe who responds to your struggles with empathy, patience, and understanding, and who does not. Not everyone is capable of providing the support you need, and that is not necessarily a flaw in them, but it is crucial information for your own well-being. Your time, energy, and emotions are finite resources. Investing them in people who disregard your pain only drains your strength and reinforces patterns of neglect. Protecting your heart means being selective about who you allow close. Boundaries are essential. When people ignore your pain, you do not owe them justification for your feelings or your need for distance. Boundaries are not punishment or retaliation. They are a form of self-care. You can establish limits on how much time you spend with certain people, what topics you discuss, and how much emotional energy you invest. Boundaries teach others how to treat you while simultaneously preserving your heart from unnecessary harm. Consistently enforced boundaries cultivate respect and reduce repeated exposure to dismissive behavior. Protecting your heart also requires emotional independence. Your sense of value should not be contingent upon whether others acknowledge your suffering. Too often, people allow the approval, recognition, or empathy of others to determine how they feel about themselves. This is dangerous because external validation is unpredictable and unreliable. By cultivating emotional independence, you ensure that your peace, self-worth, and resilience are not dependent on others' reactions. This does not mean isolation. It means building internal strength and stability so that your heart remains intact, regardless of external circumstances. Understanding patterns of neglect can help you avoid repeating harmful dynamics. Many people unconsciously attract relationships in which their pain is ignored. Recognize behaviors and traits that consistently lead to disappointment. Reflect on past experiences and identify warning signs. This awareness allows you to make intentional choices about who you allow into your emotional space. Protecting your heart requires vigilance and the ability to learn from history rather than repeating it. Supporting your heart also involves nurturing positive connections. Surround yourself with people who actively listen, validate your experiences, and provide encouragement. Genuine relationships are mutually supportive, not one-sided. Seek communities, friends, and mentors who celebrate your resilience and growth. The energy from these connections replenishes your heart and strengthens your emotional armor. While it is impossible to control the actions of all people, choosing where to focus your emotional investment empowers you to protect your heart consistently. Forgiveness is another crucial aspect. Protecting your heart does not mean carrying grudges or resentment indefinitely. Holding on to anger or bitterness toward those who ignored your pain can become toxic to your own emotional health. Forgiveness is a tool to release the weight of past neglect without allowing it to dictate future behavior. It does not require reconciliation or continued exposure to harmful individuals. It simply frees your heart from the burden of carrying someone else's inability to empathize. Self-awareness is a key component in safeguarding your heart. Understanding your own triggers, vulnerabilities, and emotional needs equips you to respond rather than react. When you know what situations or behaviors cause your heart to feel unsafe, you can proactively create strategies to minimize exposure and protect yourself. Awareness combined with action creates confidence. You no longer feel helpless when confronted with dismissive behavior. Instead, you respond with clarity, firmness, and self-respect. Developing resilience strengthens your heart over time. Life will always present moments where people fail to recognize your struggle. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about learning to recover quickly and maintaining your emotional integrity. Each instance of neglect is an opportunity to reinforce boundaries, practice self-care, and reaffirm your value. With consistent effort, your heart becomes strong enough to withstand disappointment without being damaged. Resilience is the armor that allows you to engage deeply with life without fear of being harmed unnecessarily. Practical habits support heart protection as well. Journaling allows you to process emotions safely. Reflective writing provides clarity, helps identify patterns, and validates your experiences. Mindful practices like meditation or intentional breathing exercise create space to observe emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Engaging in physical activity reduces stress and boosts emotional stability. These habits strengthen your ability to protect your heart by fostering internal resources that are independent of others' recognition or response. Learning to say no is an essential skill. When someone repeatedly ignores your pain or dismisses your feelings, it is within your power to step back. Saying no is not rejection. It is an assertion of your own needs and priorities. Every time you honor yourself in this way, your heart becomes less vulnerable. Saying no communicates a clear message to both yourself and others that your emotional well-being is non-negotiable. Acceptance also plays a role. Understand that not everyone is capable of empathy or emotional support. This does not reflect a deficiency in your heart, but a limitation in theirs. Accepting this reality prevents frustration, resentment, and prolonged exposure to those who cannot meet your emotional needs. Protecting your heart includes recognizing the limits of others and redirecting your energy toward those who can reciprocate compassion and understanding. Cultivating self-love is inseparable from protecting your heart. When you value yourself, your feelings, and your experiences, you create a standard for how others are allowed to treat you. Self-love is demonstrated through actions that prioritize your well-being, establish boundaries, and reinforce emotional safety. The stronger your self-love, the less likely you are to tolerate neglect, indifference, or emotional harm from others. Reflection is another tool for heart protection. After encounters with people who ignore your pain, take time to analyze the experience. Ask yourself what you learned, how you responded, and what boundaries you can reinforce moving forward. Reflection is not dwelling, it is strategic evaluation. It empowers your heart to recognize patterns, anticipate challenges, and respond effectively. This continuous learning strengthens your capacity to engage with the world without unnecessary emotional compromise. Empathy toward yourself is vital. Protecting your heart is not a cold or unfeeling act. It is an expression of care. Acknowledge the hurt, validate your experiences, and honor the emotional energy you invest. Treat your heart with the same concern and tenderness you would offer a loved one. This level of empathy reinforces the message that your feelings are worthy of protection, attention, and respect. Your heart benefits from consistency. Emotional protection is not a one-time decision, it is a daily practice. Monitor your relationships, evaluate interactions, and reinforce boundaries as needed. Consistency communicates to both yourself and others that your emotional well-being is a priority. Over time, consistent practice strengthens your heart, making it less susceptible to unnecessary harm and more capable of engaging in meaningful, supportive relationships. Practical exercises help reinforce these principles. Limit time spent with individuals who disregard your pain. Engage in conversations that honor your experiences. Establish safe spaces for emotional processing, whether through friends, mentors, or personal reflection. Actively seek relationships where listening, empathy, and mutual support are present. Every intentional action is a reinforcement of your commitment to protect your heart and maintain emotional integrity. Recognize that protecting your heart is not passive. It requires vigilance, deliberate action, and continuous self-assessment. It is an active process of choosing what and who you allow into your emotional life. By doing so, you ensure that your energy is not wasted on those incapable of valuing it. Emotional safety is a choice, and consistent choices cultivate a heart that remains strong, resilient, and capable of deep connection. In time, protecting your heart transforms your life. You no longer tolerate relationships that drain or diminish you. You develop a clear sense of your emotional boundaries and a strong internal compass. You create space for growth, love, and fulfillment that is not dependent on others' ability to see your pain. Every decision to honor your heart reinforces your self-worth, strengthens resilience, and enhances the quality of your interactions and experiences. Protecting your heart is an act of courage. It requires honesty, discernment, and sometimes difficult decisions. It requires standing firm when others fail to acknowledge your pain. It requires trusting yourself to know what is best for your emotional well-being. The act of protecting your heart signals strength, maturity, and wisdom. It allows you to engage in relationships and experiences with clarity and confidence, rather than fear and compromise. Every moment you choose to safeguard your heart is an investment in the life you deserve. It ensures that your love, empathy, and emotional energy are directed toward those and situations that honor them. It prevents the exhaustion and resentment that comes from giving to those unwilling to give back. Protecting your heart allows you to live fully, engage meaningfully, and connect deeply without losing yourself in the process. Commit to protecting your heart. Establish boundaries, cultivate self-love, practice self-awareness, nurture supportive connections, and act decisively.
When you do this consistently, your heart becomes stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It becomes capable of enduring challenges, handling disappointment, and engaging in meaningful relationships without unnecessary suffering. Protecting your heart is not a sign of weakness. It is the foundation for a life of integrity, fulfillment, and emotional freedom. When your heart is protected, everything in life improves. Decisions become clearer, relationships become healthier, and your energy is focused on growth, healing, and connection that matter. Emotional neglect no longer dictates your life. You are free to give love without losing yourself, to engage fully without compromise, and to live with confidence, knowing that your heart is safe and valued.
Chapter 4. Remind yourself daily that you deserve real care. Every day presents a choice. You can move through life on autopilot, allowing your worth to be determined by others, or you can consciously remind yourself that you deserve real care. This is not a casual thought or a fleeting idea. It is a principle that shapes your actions, your decisions, and the quality of your life. Real care begins within. It is the acknowledgement that your needs, feelings, and well-being are as important as anyone else's. It is the act of honoring yourself consistently, not occasionally, and making decisions that reflect your inherent value. To remind yourself daily that you deserve care, begin with attention. Notice how you treat yourself in your routines, in your choices, and in your interactions. Are you prioritizing sleep, nutrition, and mental clarity? Are you speaking to yourself kindly, or are you criticizing, rushing, and overloading your own mind? Attention is the first step. With what you notice expands. By paying conscious attention to how you nurture yourself, you create awareness of areas where care is needed and reinforce the habit of valuing your own well-being. Language is powerful. The words you use toward yourself can either build confidence or erode it. Every day, speak affirmations that reinforce your worth. Do not allow fleeting doubts to dictate your self-perception. State clearly that your needs matter, that your boundaries are valid, and that your feelings are legitimate. Consistently repeating these truths to yourself rewires your mind to internalize care as a non-negotiable standard rather than an occasional luxury. This is how real care becomes ingrained in your daily life. Action reinforces awareness and language. To truly deserve care, you must act on it. Make deliberate choices that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Schedule time for rest without guilt. Consume foods that fuel your energy and clarity. Engage in activities that bring joy and fulfillment. Real care is active, not passive. It is a series of decisions and actions that demonstrate to yourself that your well-being is a priority. Each act of self-care reinforces the internal message that you are worthy. Boundaries are essential in this process. Remind yourself daily that real care includes protecting yourself from what harms or depletes you. This may require saying no to people, situations, or commitments that drain your energy or disrespect your limits. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is a practical strategy to maintain balance and preserve your emotional and physical resources. Consistently enforcing boundaries communicates to yourself and others that your care is important and non-negotiable. Self-reflection is another pillar. Daily reflection helps you evaluate whether your actions align with the truth that you deserve care. Ask yourself honestly if you spent the day honoring your needs, or if you allowed obligations, expectations, or external pressures to overshadow your well-being. Reflection provides clarity, strengthens resolve, and prevents patterns of neglect from forming. It is a disciplined practice that reinforces the principle of self-care and self-worth continuously. Gratitude amplifies the sense of deserving care. Take time to appreciate the aspects of your life that are positive and supportive. Recognize the ways you are already nurturing yourself, even in small actions. Gratitude shifts focus from what is lacking to what is present, reinforcing the belief that care is not a privilege to be earned, but a right to be recognized daily. This mindset creates emotional abundance and resilience, helping you maintain consistency in self-prioritization. Visual reminders are powerful tools. Place cues in your environment that reinforce your need for care. It could be notes, affirmations, or structured routines that signal to yourself the importance of your well-being. These reminders act as constant reinforcements, ensuring that your mind and body remain aligned with the principle that you are worthy of genuine attention and nurturing. Over time, these visual cues become internalized, reducing the reliance on external validation for self-care. Supportive connections amplify this principle. Surround yourself with individuals who respect your boundaries, acknowledge your needs, and encourage your well-being. Engage in relationships where mutual care is present. Real care is reinforced not only by your actions, but by the people who reflect and validate your worth. Observing and learning from these positive dynamics strengthens your ability to maintain self-care and prevents you from tolerating relationships where your well-being is overlooked. Mindfulness is a daily practice that deepens the awareness of deserving care. Engage fully with the present moment and observe your feelings without judgment. Notice when your needs are ignored or delayed, and consciously decide to address them. Mindfulness fosters a deep connection between intention and action, allowing you to consistently respond to your own needs with immediacy and clarity. It transforms care from a concept into lived experience, reinforcing the habit of valuing yourself each day. Decision-making reflects your belief in deserving care. Every choice, big or small, communicates to your mind how seriously you take your well-being. Prioritize decisions that sustain your energy, enhance your growth, and maintain your emotional health. Avoid choices that compromise your integrity, neglect your needs, or diminish your sense of self. Daily decision-making is not trivial. It is a repeated opportunity to reinforce the truth that you deserve consistent, real care. Accountability strengthens commitment. Track your self-care practices and hold yourself responsible for following through. Accountability is a form of respect toward yourself. By consistently reviewing your actions and ensuring they align with your principle of deserving care, you cultivate discipline, resilience, and self-trust. This prevents neglect from becoming habitual and ensures that your care remains a central, non-negotiable part of your daily life. Creativity supports emotional nourishment. Engage in activities that express your individuality and bring personal satisfaction. Whether it is art, music, writing, or movement, these practices feed your soul and reinforce the principle that you deserve experiences that enrich your life. Creativity is a tangible reminder that care is not only about protection, but about fostering joy, exploration, and fulfillment in every day. Physical wellness is inseparable from this principle. Treat your body as an essential vessel that requires attention, nutrition, and movement. Your physical health is an immediate reflection of how well you honor your needs. Daily exercise, proper nutrition, and rest are concrete acts that signal self-respect and reinforce the belief that you deserve care in all dimensions of your life. Neglecting the body undermines mental and emotional stability, while consistent care strengthens them simultaneously. Emotional processing is vital. When difficult feelings arise, do not suppress them. Allow yourself to acknowledge, name, and work through emotions in safe and constructive ways. Journaling, talking with trusted individuals, or guided reflection can help you navigate emotional complexity without neglecting your own needs. This daily engagement teaches your mind and heart that your feelings are valid and worthy of attention, reinforcing self-care as a continuous, lived reality. Continuous learning and growth.
Foster a sense of deserving care. Invest time in developing skills, understanding your world, and expanding your capabilities. When you actively grow, you communicate to yourself that your potential and well-being matter. Learning reinforces self-respect and empowers you to act decisively in favor of your own care, rather than relying on external acknowledgement or validation. Self-compassion is non-negotiable. Treat yourself with the patience, understanding, and kindness you would extend to someone you care deeply about. Avoid harsh self-criticism, comparison, and unrealistic standards. Daily reminders of compassion solidify your belief in deserving real care. When self-compassion is practiced consistently, it becomes a default response, creating resilience and reducing unnecessary self-inflicted suffering. Visualization strengthens commitment. Imagine what your life looks like when your needs are consistently honored, when your body, mind, and emotions are nurtured, and when your boundaries are respected. Picture yourself responding to challenges from a place of balance, clarity, and well-being. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to expect care as a norm, shaping behavior and reinforcing the principle of deserving real care in practical, everyday decisions. Time management is a subtle yet powerful tool. Allocate time intentionally for rest, personal development, and joy. When your schedule reflects care for yourself, it communicates your values clearly, both to you and to the people around you. Poor time management often signals neglect, whereas structured, intentional time allocation reinforces self-respect and the reality that your needs deserve consistent attention. Celebrating small wins reinforces daily care. Recognize moments where you honored your needs, made healthy choices, or set boundaries effectively. Celebration is not arrogance, it is acknowledgement of progress and reinforcement of positive behavior. Every victory, no matter how minor, strengthens the habit of treating yourself as someone worthy of real, consistent care. Finally, consistency is the ultimate proof of belief. Daily, deliberate acts of self-care, self-compassion, boundary setting, and attention combine to create an unshakable foundation. Consistency ensures that your mind, body, and heart internalize the truth. You deserve real care, and you are responsible for providing it. When this principle becomes routine, it transforms not only how you treat yourself, but also how you engage with the world, creating a life rooted in respect, resilience, and well-being. Remind yourself daily, without exception, that your life, your health, and your emotional state matter. Commit to practices that reflect care, establish boundaries that protect you, and engage in self-directed action that nurtures growth. Over time, this repeated commitment reshapes your reality. Your interactions, choices, and experiences become aligned with the understanding that you are worthy of attention, kindness, and consistent support. This is not luxury, it is a necessity. By embedding this principle into your life, you cultivate a foundation of stability, confidence, and clarity. When you internalize that you deserve real care, decisions become easier, relationships more balanced, and challenges more manageable. You respond rather than react, act with intention, and maintain peace even when circumstances are difficult. Daily reminders are not just words, they are transformative actions that shape the trajectory of your life. Each morning and evening, affirm this truth through thought, action, and reflection. Feed your mind, nurture your body, and honor your emotional needs. Recognize that self-care is a responsibility, a privilege, and a practice that directly impacts the quality of your life. By committing to remind yourself daily that you deserve real care, you create a life of sustained well-being, purpose, and fulfillment.
Chapter 5. Stand for your needs when they are pushed aside. Every person has needs. Some are obvious, some are subtle, but they all demand acknowledgement. Needs are not weaknesses. They are essential markers that guide your decisions, actions, and sense of well-being. Life becomes complicated when your needs are ignored, overlooked, or dismissed by others. When that happens, it is easy to shrink, to accept less, or to silence yourself in order to maintain peace. But peace without fulfillment is not true peace. Standing for your needs is not optional. It is a fundamental act of respect for yourself, your life, and your future. The first step in standing for your needs is recognition. You must identify clearly what your needs are, both physically and emotionally. This requires honesty with yourself. Many people go through life reacting to external pressures while ignoring their internal requirements. Needs are signals. They are not negotiable wishes. They are indicators of what your body, mind, and heart require to function optimally. Take time to observe, reflect, and write down your needs. Doing so transforms vague discomfort into actionable clarity. Once you recognize your needs, the next step is prioritization. Life constantly demands attention, and it is easy for your needs to get pushed aside in favor of obligations, expectations, or others' desires. Prioritizing your needs means committing to honoring them first, even when external pressures seem urgent. It is a conscious decision to value your well-being above convenience, comfort, or conformity. Prioritization is not arrogance. It is a disciplined practice that ensures your foundation is strong before extending energy outward. Confidence is necessary to stand for your needs. Without it, hesitation or fear may prevent you from asserting what is required for your well-being. Confidence does not mean aggression or entitlement. It means clarity about your own worth and clarity about what you require to thrive. Practice stating your needs calmly and firmly. Use language that reflects certainty, not apology. The act of expressing your needs reinforces internal validation, teaching your mind and body that they deserve to be met consistently. Boundaries are a critical tool in this process. When others push aside your needs, boundaries serve as the line that protects your energy and your life. These boundaries are practical, specific, and enforceable. They define what is acceptable and unattainable in your interactions. Boundaries communicate to others how they are allowed to treat you, and they communicate to yourself that your priorities are non-negotiable. Enforcing boundaries consistently is essential to prevent repeated disregard and to maintain emotional stability. Standing for your needs also requires emotional courage. Fear of conflict, rejection, or disappointment often prevents people from asserting what they require. Courage does not eliminate fear, it allows you to act despite it. Every time you express a need that others try to dismiss, you reinforce your internal authority and teach your environment how to respect your existence. Emotional courage builds over time, but each moment of assertion strengthens resilience and self-trust. Practical strategies help solidify this practice. When your needs are being overlooked, communicate clearly, calmly, and specifically. Avoid vague complaints or indirect hints. State what you need, why it matters, and how it affects you. Actionable communication reduces misunderstanding, increases the likelihood of your needs being acknowledged, and reinforces your own commitment to honoring yourself. Avoid over-explaining or justifying excessively. Your needs are valid simply because they exist. Self-awareness enhances effectiveness. Monitor your feelings when your needs are pushed aside. Observe patterns in your reactions, emotional responses, and triggers. Understanding your inner landscape provides insight into how best to assert your needs without unnecessary conflict or self-doubt. Awareness ensures that standing for yourself is not reactive or impulsive, but deliberate, measured, and effective. It also prevents self-sabotage and helps maintain integrity in challenging interactions. Consistency is vital. Standing for your needs once is not enough. Life presents repeated moments where your priorities may be overlooked. Each time you allow your needs to be pushed aside, a pattern forms, and your influence over your own life diminishes. By consistently asserting your needs, you establish reliability and predictability in your behavior, signaling to both yourself and others that your requirements are fundamental and enduring. Supportive connections make this practice more sustainable. Surround yourself with people who respect your needs and encourage your assertiveness. Being around those who validate your experiences strengthens confidence and reinforces the habit of prioritizing yourself. It also creates a reference point for how healthy interactions should feel, making it easier to navigate relationships where needs are challenged. Healthy connections amplify courage and reduce isolation in moments of pushback. Self-compassion is essential. Standing for your needs can provoke guilt or discomfort, especially if others react negatively. Remind yourself that honoring your requirements is not selfish, it is necessary. Treat yourself with patience and kindness when you feel hesitant or anxious. Compassion reinforces the belief that your needs are legitimate and deserving of respect, making it easier to persist despite internal or external resistance. Reflection strengthens learning and growth. Interactions where your needs were challenged. Take time to assess what worked, what did not, and how you can improve communication or boundary enforcement. Reflection transforms challenges into lessons and ensures continuous development in standing firmly for yourself. It also reduces repetitive mistakes, improves resilience, and enhances clarity in future situations. Decision-making aligns closely with standing for your needs. Daily choices demonstrate whether your needs are truly prioritized. Are you accepting obligations that compromise your well-being? Are you allowing others' agendas to overshadow your priorities? Decision-making is a reflection of what you value. Consistently choosing actions that honor your needs strengthens self-trust, reinforces personal authority, and communicates to the world that you are intentional about your life. Resilience develops through repetition and perseverance. Not everyone will immediately honor your needs. Some will resist, dismiss, or challenge them. Resilience allows you to maintain calm, clarity, and determination despite these challenges. It transforms moments of pushback into opportunities to strengthen boundaries and practice assertiveness. Over time, resilience ensures that standing for your needs becomes a natural, unshakable habit. Mindfulness deepens understanding and presence. Being fully aware of your feelings and needs in the moment prevents automatic accommodation or avoidance. Mindfulness enables deliberate responses rather than reactive compliance. It allows you to evaluate whether your needs are being neglected and to choose actions that restore balance and respect. This continuous engagement strengthens self-awareness and reinforces the legitimacy of your requirement. Physical and mental wellness supports your ability to stand for your needs. A tired, stressed, or depleted person is more likely to yield under pressure. By maintaining energy through nutrition, movement, and rest, you reinforce your capacity to assert priorities consistently. Strength in the body and clarity in the mind both enhance confidence, making it easier to honor what you require in every interaction. Visualization is a powerful reinforcement. Imagine scenarios where your needs are respected, and visualize yourself responding calmly and firmly when they are challenged. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to act with confidence, reduces anxiety, and strengthens the neural pathways associated with assertiveness. Consistent visualization helps your body, mind, and emotions anticipate success rather than fear confrontation. Gratitude strengthens perspective. Reflect on moments where your needs were met or where others supported you. Appreciating these instances reinforces that your requirements are reasonable and attainable.
Gratitude also helps maintain balance, reducing unnecessary defensiveness and ensuring that standing for your needs is rooted in confidence rather than resentment or anger. Education and knowledge support informed action. Understanding communication techniques, conflict resolution, and psychological principles enhances your ability to assert your needs effectively. The more equipped you are with practical tools, the more confident you become in expressing yourself. Knowledge removes uncertainty, strengthens authority, and reduces the likelihood of being dismissed or overlooked. Self-respect is both the foundation and the outcome of this practice. Every act of asserting your needs reinforces internal value and dignity. When you consistently demonstrate that your life, energy, and well-being are important, you cultivate self-respect that becomes evident to yourself and to the people around you. Self-respect attracts respect and creates a life where your needs are naturally prioritized. Empowerment is the result of standing firmly for your needs. When you consistently honor your requirements, you gain control over your life, energy, and emotional state. Empowerment allows you to navigate challenges without compromise, to make decisions aligned with your priorities, and to engage in relationships with clarity and confidence. Every step in asserting your needs builds autonomy and reinforces your capacity to live intentionally. Practical exercises reinforce this principle. Begin each day by identifying one need that is at risk of being overlooked. Plan a concrete action to ensure it is addressed. Communicate assertively in challenging situations. Reflect each evening on whether your actions aligned with your priority. Small, consistent steps build momentum and internalize the habit of standing for yourself, making it increasingly effortless over time. Ultimately, standing for your needs is an ongoing commitment. Life will present situations where your requirements are challenged, ignored, or dismissed. Each encounter is an opportunity to practice assertiveness, reinforce boundaries, and demonstrate respect for your own life. Over time, these practices cultivate a life in which your energy, well-being, and priorities are consistently honored. By standing for your needs, you create stability, clarity, and strength. Your interactions are grounded in intention rather than reaction. Your relationships reflect mutual respect rather than compromise at your expense. Your life becomes a space where your priorities, desires, and well-being are actively considered and maintained. This is not an abstract concept. It is a tangible, daily practice with profound long-term impact. Commit to this practice today. Identify your needs, prioritize them, communicate clearly, enforce boundaries, and take deliberate actions that reinforce self-respect. Every moment spent standing for your needs strengthens resilience, builds confidence, and demonstrates to yourself that your life, your energy, and your heart are worthy of care. Over time, this consistent practice becomes an unshakable habit that transforms every area of your life, allowing you to engage fully, confidently, and intentionally in the world around you.
Chapter 6. Let go of anyone who keeps hurting your confidence. Confidence is fragile. It is built slowly, nurtured carefully, and tested constantly. Every person has a limited amount of emotional energy, and allowing someone into your life who repeatedly undermines your confidence is a direct threat to your growth and well-being. Letting go of people who harm your self-esteem is not about anger or revenge. It is about prioritizing yourself and protecting the mental and emotional space necessary for success, happiness, and fulfillment. True strength lies in recognizing when someone is consistently diminishing your sense of self-worth and having the courage to remove that influence from your life. The first step in letting go is awareness. Pay attention to how interactions with certain individuals make you feel. Do you feel diminished, anxious, or insecure after being around them? Do your achievements feel minimized or ignored? These feelings are signals. They indicate that your confidence is being eroded. Awareness is critical because you cannot protect or reclaim something you do not recognize as endangered. Observe your emotions honestly, without justification for why the other person behaves poorly. Your responsibility is not to fix them. It is to safeguard yourself. Next comes acceptance. Accept that not everyone is capable of supporting your growth or respecting your boundaries. Some people will never validate your achievements, celebrate your successes, or encourage your potential. This is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their limitations. Acceptance allows you to stop hoping for recognition from those who are unable to provide it. When you release the expectation that someone must make you feel valued, you free your confidence from dependence on external validation. Setting boundaries is essential. You must decide the degree of access certain people have to your life. This may mean limiting time, restricting topics of conversation, or completely removing them from your daily environment. Boundaries are acts of self-respect. They communicate clearly that your confidence, energy, and emotional health are priorities. Enforcing these boundaries consistently ensures that your mental space remains protected and that harmful influences cannot continue to undermine your growth. Letting go requires decisiveness. Avoid hesitation or prolonged negotiation with your emotions. People who repeatedly hurt your confidence will continue to do so unless action is taken. Decisiveness is a form of self-respect. By acting promptly to distance yourself from toxic influences, you prevent prolonged emotional damage and reclaim energy that can be redirected towards supportive relationships and personal growth. Indecision allows negativity to fester and confidence to erode further. Self-reflection strengthens the process. Take time to understand why you tolerated repeated harm or undermining behavior in the past. Did fear, guilt, or a desire for approval keep you connected to someone destructive? Awareness of these patterns prevents repetition and reinforces your ability to make healthier choices in the future. Reflection is not about blame. It is about learning and reinforcing the commitment to protect your confidence. Developing resilience is critical. Letting go of someone who repeatedly damages your confidence can be emotionally challenging. You may feel guilt, sadness, or fear of loss. Resilience allows you to process these feelings constructively without compromising your self-worth. Over time, resilience grows stronger with each instance of prioritizing yourself and reclaiming emotional space. It ensures that your confidence remains intact despite temporary discomfort or emotional resistance. Supportive connections are essential in this journey. Surround yourself with people who uplift, encourage, and validate your strengths. Relationships that nurture confidence create a buffer against negative influences and reinforce the habit of standing firmly for yourself. Positive reinforcement from trusted individuals strengthens self-belief and provides a healthy reference point for how interactions should feel. These connections amplify your ability to let go of toxic influences without hesitation. Mindfulness deepens clarity. Being present with your emotions allows you to recognize the exact moments when confidence is being compromised. Mindfulness prevents overreaction while ensuring that you do not ignore subtle forms of undermining behavior. By observing your feelings and responses carefully, you can make informed decisions about who to allow into your life and how to protect your sense of self continuously. Awareness in the present moment is the foundation for confident action. Affirmations strengthen your internal authority. Repeat daily reminders of your worth, capabilities, and achievements. This is not empty praise. It is a reinforcement of your identity independent of anyone else's approval. Affirmations create a psychological buffer that protects your confidence from external harm. By consistently affirming your value, you reduce the emotional impact of those who attempt to diminish it. This builds an internal foundation that is resilient, consistent, and independent. Emotional independence is essential. Your confidence should not be contingent on how others treat you. Emotional reliance on external validation creates vulnerability. When you cultivate internal validation, you create a stable base from which to evaluate relationships and make decisions. Emotional independence ensures that letting go of toxic individuals is an act of empowerment rather than desperation. It makes the decision intentional, logical, and aligned with your long-term well-being. Practical strategies reinforce protection. Gradually reduce engagement with individuals who hurt your confidence. Limit exposure to situations where criticism or negativity is frequent. Replace these interactions with positive, growth-oriented environment. Each practical step reduces the risk of further damage and reinforces the habit of prioritizing yourself. Over time, these habits become second nature, protecting your confidence without constant effort. Self-compassion is critical during this process. Letting go can trigger self-doubt or guilt, especially if you previously tolerated mistreatment. Remind yourself that prioritizing your confidence is not selfish, it is necessary. Treat yourself with patience and kindness as you navigate the emotional complexity of removing harmful influences. Compassion reinforces your internal belief that you deserve respect, validation, and healthy interactions. Reflection on past experiences provides perspective. Consider how your confidence grew or suffered in previous interactions with toxic individuals. Recognize patterns, triggers, and outcomes. This understanding allows you to anticipate challenges and respond proactively. Reflection transforms each experience into a lesson that strengthens your ability to protect yourself in the future. It turns past pain into a roadmap for empowered decision-making. Decision-making is central to maintaining confidence. Every choice you make communicates your priorities. Choosing to disengage from people who harm your self-esteem reinforces your commitment to yourself. Small decisions accumulate into a lifestyle of self-respect. Each choice becomes a demonstration that you value your confidence and will not tolerate consistent undermining. Decision-making becomes a daily exercise in empowerment. Visualization strengthens resolve. Imagine interactions where your boundaries are respected, your achievements acknowledged, and your confidence honored. Mentally rehearse removing harmful influences from your life with calm assurance. This process prepares your mind and body for decisive action and reduces anger. Visualization reinforces the idea that protecting your confidence is both possible and necessary, shaping your behavior through mental rehearsal. Accountability ensures follow-through. Share your intentions with trusted individuals who will support your efforts to prioritize your confidence. Accountability increases commitment and provides encouragement when challenges arise. By having witnesses to your actions and intentions, you reinforce the seriousness of your commitment and reduce the likelihood of wavering in the face of pressure or doubt. Celebrating progress reinforces change. Recognize every step you take toward removing harmful influences from your life. Acknowledge the courage, strength, and clarity required to prioritize your confidence. Celebration is not vanity. It is reinforcement of positive behavior. Each acknowledgement strengthens the habit of valuing your self-worth and creates motivation to continue making empowered choices. Education equips you with tools. Learning about emotional intelligence, communication, and healthy relationships increases your ability to navigate complex interactions while maintaining confidence. Knowledge reduces uncertainty and empowers you to respond to challenges strategically rather than reactively. The more informed you are, the more confident and decisive your actions will become. Consistency ensures lasting impact.
Confidence can be fragile if neglected. Letting go once is insufficient if patterns are repeated. Maintain vigilance and consistently evaluate relationships to ensure that those who remain in your life contribute positively to your sense of self. Regular assessment protects against regression and reinforces the long-term stability of your confidence. Gratitude reinforces perspective. Appreciate the people and environments that uplift and encourage you. Focusing on positive influences strengthens your resolve to remove those who do not. Gratitude shifts attention from loss to abundance, reducing the emotional burden of letting go and reinforcing the understanding that confidence is supported elsewhere. Self-reflection strengthens internal clarity. After letting go of harmful influences, evaluate how your confidence has improved, how your energy has shifted, and how your decisions feel more aligned with your value. Reflection transforms the act of letting go into a measurable, empowering experience, reinforcing the importance of prioritizing yourself in every interaction. Empowerment is the ultimate result. When you consistently remove individuals who diminish your confidence, you gain authority over your life, decisions, and emotional state. Empowerment allows you to engage with the world from a place of strength rather than fear or insecurity. Your confidence becomes a protected resource, guiding choices, relationships, and opportunities in ways that align with your highest potential. Practical daily exercises support reinforcement. Begin each day by identifying situations or interactions where your confidence might be threatened. Plan proactive strategies to protect your self-esteem, whether through boundary setting, limiting exposure, or affirmations. Review progress at the end of the day and adjust strategies as needed. Small consistent actions over time, solidifying confidence and resilience. Finally, letting go of anyone who repeatedly hurts your confidence is an act of self-respect, wisdom, and courage. It is not a reflection of weakness or failure. It is a deliberate choice to prioritize your well-being, protect your energy, and cultivate an environment that fosters growth and fulfillment. Each act of letting go strengthens your self-trust, reinforces personal boundaries, and empowers you to navigate life with clarity, strength, and unwavering confidence. When you make this principle a daily practice, decisions become easier, relationships healthier, and your sense of self unshakable. You no longer allow others to dictate your worth or diminish your capability. Confidence becomes a constant companion, nurtured, protected, and aligned with the truth that you are deserving of respect, care, and recognition. Letting go is not loss, it is liberation, empowerment, and the pathway to a life where your confidence thrives without compromise.
Chapter 7. Build inner strength by listening to your true emotions. Strength does not come from avoiding emotions. It comes from facing them, understanding them, and using them as a guide to live a more authentic and powerful life. Too often, people ignore their true feelings, push them aside, or mask them with distraction. This is a mistake. True inner strength is developed by listening attentively to what your emotions are telling you. Emotions are signals. They are the language of your inner world, revealing needs, desires, fears, and opportunities. Ignoring them weakens your ability to make decisions, maintain resilience, and respond effectively to life's challenges. The first step in building inner strength through emotional awareness is honesty. Be honest with yourself about what you feel. Stop minimizing your emotions or convincing yourself they are unimportant. If you are frustrated, angry, sad, or anxious, acknowledge it fully. Each emotion carries information about your internal state and about what is happening in your life. Pretending emotions do not exist only prolongs suffering and undermines confidence. Acknowledge them without judgment, and you take the first step toward harnessing their power. Next comes observation. Watch how emotions arise, fluctuate, and interact. Notice the triggers that provoke them. Observe your physical reactions, your thoughts, and the impact on your decisions. Observation is not about overanalyzing or blaming yourself. It is about creating awareness. By observing emotions attentively, you can recognize patterns that have shaped past behavior and begin to guide future responses more effectively. Awareness is the foundation of emotional strength. Acceptance is critical. Accept that all emotions are valid and necessary. There is no such thing as bad emotions. Frustration, fear, sadness, and disappointment are not weaknesses. They are signals that something requires attention or change. When you accept your emotions without judgment, you stop wasting energy resisting them. Resistance weakens resilience, while acceptance allows you to channel emotions into constructive action. Acceptance is a choice to honor your inner experience rather than suppress it. Reflection strengthens the understanding of emotion. After acknowledging and observing them, take time to reflect on their origin and purpose. Ask yourself why you feel a certain way, what it reveals about your needs, and what actions can address the underlying cause. Reflection prevents impulsive reactions and helps you respond thoughtfully. It transforms raw emotion into clarity, guiding decisions that reinforce self-respect and empowerment. Emotional expression is a tool for building strength. Suppression can cause internal tension, stress, and burnout. Find safe and effective ways to express what you feel. Seek to trusted friends, write in a journal, or engage in physical activity that allows release. Expression communicates to your inner self that feelings are recognized and honored, which strengthens self-trust and emotional stability. Regular expression prevents emotions from controlling you unconsciously. Mindfulness deepens connection to your true emotions. Engage fully with the present moment and observe feelings as they arise. Mindfulness trains the mind to distinguish between immediate impulses and deeper emotional currents. It allows you to respond with intention rather than reacting out of habit or fear. By practicing mindfulness daily, you develop a heightened sensitivity to your inner world, which is essential for true inner strength. Boundaries support emotional integrity. Listening to your emotions includes recognizing when others are influencing or manipulating how you feel. When interactions consistently provoke negativity or undermine your self-perception, boundaries are necessary. Set clear limits to protect your emotional space. Boundaries are not defensive walls, they are proactive strategies to maintain clarity and power over your own inner world. Respecting your emotional boundaries reinforces self-respect and resilience. Decision-making improves when guided by emotions. Your feelings provide insight into what aligns with your values, desires, and needs. When you listen carefully, decisions become more accurate, authentic, and aligned with your long-term well-being. Ignoring emotional signals often leads to compromise, resentment, and regret. Strength emerges from integrating emotional insight into action, ensuring choices are both strategic and personally meaningful. Self-compassion is essential. Emotions can be intense, uncomfortable, or confusing. Treat yourself with kindness and patience as you navigate them. Avoid self-criticism for feeling anger, sadness, or fear. Compassion reinforces the understanding that emotions are natural and valuable. By being gentle with yourself, you maintain stability and cultivate inner resilience, which is crucial for long-term strength. Visualization strengthens emotional resilience. Imagine situations where you honor your emotions effectively. Respond calmly and make decisions aligned with your inner truth. Visualizing constructive responses trains your mind to act decisively under pressure. It reduces emotional reactivity and prepares you to face real-life challenges with confidence and clarity. Consistent mental rehearsal embeds strength and skill in handling emotions. Awareness of triggers prevents repeated setbacks. Identify patterns, environments, and interactions that consistently provoke negative emotions. Understanding triggers allows you to plan and respond proactively rather than reactively. Avoid unnecessary exposure while preparing strategies to manage unavoidable situations. This proactive approach protects your emotional energy and strengthens control over your responses. Resilience develops through repeated practice. Listening to emotions does not mean reacting impulsively. Strength comes from acknowledging feelings, processing them, and taking intentional action. Each cycle of recognition, reflection, and response builds emotional endurance. Over time, you become capable of navigating complex challenges without being dominated by fear, frustration, or anxiety. Resilience is cultivated, not inherited. Supportive relationships enhance emotional strength. Engage with people who encourage expression, validate experiences, and provide constructive feedback. Positive interactions reinforce that emotions are legitimate and manageable. Observing healthy emotional habits in others provides models for your own development. Relationships that nurture emotional intelligence amplify your capacity to build inner strength. Journaling is a practical tool. Writing thoughts and feelings clarifies internal experiences, uncovers patterns, and offers perspective. Journaling prevents emotional overwhelm and provides a record to track growth over time. This consistent practice helps you integrate emotional understanding into daily decision-making, reinforcing self-awareness and personal empowerment. Learning and education support emotional mastery. Understanding psychological principles, cognitive responses, and behavioral patterns provides practical frameworks to interpret emotions. Knowledge equips you to respond rather than react. The more informed you are about human behavior and emotional dynamics, the more effectively you can use emotions as a guide rather than a burden. Celebration of emotional growth reinforces progress. Acknowledge moments where you recognized, processed, and responded effectively to your feelings. Recognition strengthens confidence and internal motivation. Every step in emotional mastery reinforces the habit of listening carefully to your inner world and responding with wisdom. Celebrating growth embeds positive behavior into your daily life. Habits reinforce emotional strength. Develop daily routines that support awareness, reflection, and self-expression. Practices like meditation, journaling, physical exercise, and mindful breathing provide consistent opportunities to engage with emotions constructively. Repetition transforms skill into habit, ensuring that inner strength becomes an enduring part of your character rather than a sporadic effort. Accountability enhances practice. Share your emotional development goals with a trusted mentor or friend who can provide encouragement and feedback. Accountability reinforces commitment, ensures follow-through, and provides external validation that your inner work is recognized and supported. Knowing someone observes your effort strengthens consistency and determination. Gratitude stabilizes emotional health. Recognize what is positive in your life, even during challenges. Gratitude shifts perspective, reduces reactivity, and reinforces the value of your inner experience. Acknowledging what is working strengthens your emotional foundation, making it easier to navigate difficult feelings without being destabilized. Decision-making clarity improves with emotional insight. When you listen to your true emotions, choices align with authenticity and purpose. You no longer act from habit, fear, or social pressure. Emotional clarity transforms decisions from reactive survival responses to proactive steps toward growth, fulfillment, and alignment with personal values. Imagine moments where emotions arise and you respond with clarity, patience, and wisdom. Rehearsing these scenarios builds mental strength, reduces anxiety, and creates a default approach of intentionality. Visualization trains your mind to navigate real-life challenges effectively, while maintaining inner stability. Self-trust grows from consistent practice. Each time you honor your feelings and act with awareness, you strengthen confidence in your ability to handle emotion. Self-trust is the backbone of inner strength. When you trust your emotional insight, you no longer need constant external validation. Decisions become easier, and resilience becomes natural.
Physical and mental wellness enhances emotional capacity. A healthy body supports clear thinking, stable mood, and energy to engage with challenges. Attention to sleep, nutrition, and movement ensures your system can respond effectively, rather than being overwhelmed. Emotional strength is interconnected with overall well-being, and nurturing the body is an essential part of maintaining clarity and resilience. Forgiveness is a tool for emotional freedom. Let go of resentment, self-blame, or grudges that drain mental energy. Forgiveness does not excuse harm. It releases control that negative experiences have over your emotions. By forgiving, you reclaim space for constructive growth, reinforcing your inner strength and ability to respond rather than react. Consistency builds mastery. Listening to emotions is not a single act. It is a daily practice. Each time you observe, accept, and respond constructively, you reinforce habits that strengthen emotional resilience. Over time, these practices become automatic, ensuring that your inner strength is durable, adaptive, and deeply rooted in self-awareness. Empowerment emerges naturally when you listen to your true emotions, make decisions based on insight, and act intentionally. You gain control over your life. Empowerment allows you to engage fully in opportunities, manage challenges, and maintain balance. Inner strength is not about suppressing feelings. It is about transforming emotional awareness into action, clarity, and sustained personal power. Commit to daily engagement with your emotions. Recognize, reflect, express, and act. Integrate mindfulness, journaling, visualization, and supportive relationships into your routine. Each consistent step reinforces your inner strength, builds resilience, and strengthens self-trust. By listening to your emotions with honesty and courage, you create a life rooted in authenticity, clarity, and empowerment. Your emotions are allies, not enemies. When you honor them, you gain insight, direction, and confidence. Ignoring them leaves you vulnerable to confusion, poor decisions, and unnecessary stress. Listening carefully, reflecting thoughtfully, and responding intentionally ensures that your inner strength grows with each experience. Over time, you will navigate life with calm authority, clarity of purpose, and unshakable confidence in your ability to act wisely.
Chapter 8. Respect your personal space when life becomes overwhelming. Life can become overwhelming without warning. Responsibilities pile up, emotions intensify, and demands from work, family, and society pull you in every direction. In these moments, personal space becomes more than a luxury, it becomes a necessity. Respecting your personal space is not selfish, it is an essential act of self-care, clarity, and empowerment. Every individual needs space to think, process, and restore energy. When life feels chaotic, failing to protect this space leads to fatigue, confusion, and emotional instability. Honoring your personal space is a declaration that your mind, body, and well-being matter, and that you are committed to navigating life with purpose rather than reaction. The first step in respecting personal space is recognition. Pay attention to how you feel when life is crowded with obligations, pressures, or overstimulation. Are you tired, anxious, or distracted? Do your decisions feel reactive or unclear? These are signals that your personal boundaries are being compromised. Recognizing these moments allows you to take deliberate action before exhaustion or stress erodes your effectiveness and sense of self. Awareness is the first act of self-respect. Next comes acknowledgement. Accept that needing personal space is normal and necessary. You do not need to justify it to anyone. Society often encourages constant availability and productivity, but constant engagement without pause diminishes performance and clarity. Acknowledging that you require space to think, rest, and recharge is a commitment to sustainability. Your well-being and your capacity to respond effectively in life depend on it. Establishing boundaries is essential. Decide when, where, and how you will create space for yourself. Boundaries can be physical, such as choosing a quiet environment, or emotional, such as limiting exposure to stressful conversations. Boundaries are not rigid walls, they are guidelines that protect your capacity to think, create, and respond with clarity. Enforcing them consistently ensures that you maintain balance, even amid life's pressures. Intentional solitude reinforces resilience. Time alone allows you to reflect, evaluate priorities, and process emotions without interference. Solitude is not isolation, it is a tool for self-renewal. Engaging in intentional alone time daily strengthens your ability to remain grounded, make clear decisions, and navigate challenges with patience and wisdom. Without solitude, mental clutter and emotional exhaustion accumulate, reducing clarity and effectiveness. Prioritizing personal space requires discipline. Life constantly demands attention, and it is easy to sacrifice quiet moments for the sake of obligation. Discipline is the ability to say no to external pressures in order to say yes to your own well-being. It is the commitment to honor your own rhythm, pace, and needs, even when others expect constant availability. Discipline ensures that personal space is respected consistently, not sporadically. Practical strategies support this practice. Schedule periods of quiet during the day where interruptions are minimized. Turn off notifications, create physical separation from busy environments, or engage in calming activities like reading, walking, or journaling. Structure reinforces commitment and prevents the gradual erosion of personal space by external demands. Over time, these habits create a mental and emotional buffer that protects against overwhelm. Reflection enhances the value of personal space. Use this time to evaluate recent experiences, assess priorities, and clarify what matters most. Reflection transforms quiet moments into actionable insights, turning personal space into a tool for strategic decision-making rather than idle escape. Each period of introspection strengthens self-awareness and reinforces clarity in thought and action. Listening to your body is vital. Overwhelm often manifests physically as tension, fatigue, headaches, or restlessness. Paying attention to these signals allows you to respond proactively rather than reactively. Respecting personal space includes honoring the body's need for rest, movement, and recovery. Ignoring these signals leads to burnout, reduced effectiveness, and weakened resilience. Your physical needs are an essential component of maintaining mental clarity and emotional stability. Mindfulness deepens the impact of personal space. Being fully present during periods of solitude enhances insight and reduces mental noise. Observe thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. Mindfulness trains the mind to focus, process information effectively, and make intentional choices. Regular mindfulness practice transforms personal space into a sanctuary of clarity rather than a passive or unstructured pause. Supportive communication reinforces boundaries. Inform colleagues, friends, and family about your need for space in a respectful and assertive manner. Clear communication ensures that your boundaries are understood and reduces the likelihood of conflict or misunderstanding. Personal space is respected more consistently when others recognize it as an intentional and non-negotiable priority. Emotional regulation benefits from personal space. Stress, frustration, and anxiety intensify when there is constant stimulation or pressure. Time alone allows emotions to settle, insights to emerge, and calm to return. This regulation prevents impulsive decisions, reactive behavior, and unnecessary conflict. The ability to manage emotions effectively is closely linked to the quality and consistency of personal space in your daily life. Decision-making improves dramatically when personal space is respected. Overwhelm clouds judgment, causing choices to be reactive or inconsistent with your value. Quiet periods allow reflection, analysis, and clarity, ensuring that decisions are intentional, effective, and aligned with long-term goals. Personal space transforms mental clarity into practical and strategic action. Self-compassion enhances the practice. Respecting personal space includes acknowledging that it is acceptable to take time for yourself without guilt. Avoid internal criticism for choosing restoration over constant engagement. Compassion reinforces the understanding that your mental and emotional health is a priority, strengthening resilience and self-respect. Visualization reinforces commitment. Imagine daily routines where personal space is consistently honored, and observe how it enhances clarity, energy, and decision-making. Mentally rehearsing these scenarios embeds the habit in the mind, making it easier to maintain during busy or stressful periods. Visualization strengthens intentionality and reduces anxiety about taking time for oneself. Resilience grows through repetition. Every time you honor your personal space, you build the capacity to withstand external pressures, manage stress, and maintain emotional balance. Over time, this repeated practice strengthens mental toughness and reinforces the belief that your needs are legitimate and non-negotiable. Resilience is both an outcome and a reinforcement of consistent self-care. Gratitude shifts perspective. Appreciate the benefits of quiet, reflective time and recognize the energy it restores. Focusing on these positive effects reinforces commitment and makes it easier to maintain personal space without guilt. Gratitude enhances satisfaction, clarity, and emotional stability, creating a positive feedback loop that strengthens the habit of honoring yourself. Supportive environments amplify the impact of personal space. Design spaces that reduce distractions, enhance comfort, and encourage focus. A quiet room, calming music, or nature exposure provides a physical environment conducive to reflection, rest, and mental clarity. Optimizing your surroundings ensures that personal space is effective and restorative. Accountability reinforces consistency. Share your commitment to personal space with trusted individuals who can provide support and encouragement. Knowing someone recognizes and respects your boundaries strengthens resolve and reduces the likelihood of compromise under pressure. Accountability helps maintain integrity in upholding personal priorities. Habits solidify the practice. Integrate personal space into your daily routine consistently. Daily practice, even in small increments, builds momentum and internalizes the habit. Habits transform personal space from an occasional luxury into a reliable tool for emotional stability, mental clarity, and sustained productivity. Education enhances effectiveness. Learn techniques for stress management, time prioritization, and mental clarity. Knowledge equips you with tools to maximize the benefits of personal space and minimize the risk of overwhelm. Understanding strategies for focus and calm strengthens the impact of the time you set aside for yourself. Reflection on progress strengthens. Evaluate how personal space affects energy levels, decision-making, and emotional stability. Recognizing tangible benefits reinforces commitment and highlights the transformative power of honoring your boundaries. Reflection provides insight, motivation, and validation that your efforts are creating meaningful change. Empowerment emerges naturally. By consistently respecting personal space, you gain control over your life, decisions, and emotional state. Empowerment allows you to navigate challenges with clarity, respond intentionally rather than reactively, and maintain stability even in complex or chaotic circumstances. Personal space becomes a tool of mastery rather than retreat. Self-trust develops through consistent practice.
Each time you honor your need for space, you reinforce the belief that your decisions, priorities, and well-being matter. Self-trust is foundational to confidence, resilience, and long-term success. When you trust yourself to take the space needed, you operate from a position of strength rather than compromise. Practical exercises reinforce habits. Set aside daily periods for reflection, mindfulness, or rest. Track the impact on energy, decision-making, and emotional state. Adjust duration and structure as needed to maximize effectiveness. Small, consistent actions build a reliable routine that ensures personal space is always honored and utilized optimally. Forgiveness of self and others supports balance. Release guilt for needing personal space and release resentment for previous moments when it was denied. Forgiveness allows you to move forward with clarity, focus, and commitment. It ensures that emotional energy is directed toward growth rather than lingering negativity. Consistency is essential. Life will always present unexpected demands, but consistently honoring personal space ensures that mental clarity, emotional stability, and resilience are maintained. Over time, this consistency transforms personal space from a reactive need into an intentional and empowering lifestyle. By respecting personal space when life becomes overwhelming, you create conditions for clarity, growth, and emotional stability. You strengthen resilience, improve decision-making, and maintain energy for meaningful action. Personal space is not a luxury, it is a necessary foundation for living intentionally, protecting well-being, and thriving in a world that constantly demands attention. When this principle becomes a habit, you navigate life with greater calm, focus, and confidence. Boundaries are clear, decisions are intentional, and emotional health is preserved. Respecting personal space transforms chaos into order, distraction into focus, and overwhelm into clarity. It is a practice that safeguards your well-being, empowers your choices, and ensures that your energy is invested in what truly matters. Personal space is the cornerstone of inner strength, mental clarity, and the foundation for a life of consistent growth, balance, and fulfillment.
Chapter 9. Trust your inner judgment when you feel lost inside. Life often leads to moments of uncertainty. You wake up, go through your routine, and suddenly realize you are unsure about what to do next. Decisions feel heavier, options seem confusing, and the usual confidence in your choices seems distant. In these moments, trusting your inner judgment becomes critical. Your inner judgment is the voice of experience, intuition, and self-knowledge. It is the part of you that has absorbed lessons from your successes, failures, and reflections. Listening to it allows you to navigate uncertainty with clarity, confidence, and authenticity. Ignoring this inner guidance creates confusion, hesitation, and dependency on external approval, which erodes self-trust over time. The first step in trusting your inner judgment is awareness. Recognize when you feel lost or uncertain. Acknowledge the discomfort without panic or avoidance. Understanding that feeling lost is a signal, not a failure, is crucial. It tells you that a decision, reflection, or course correction is needed. Awareness is the foundation for reconnecting with your inner guidance, and it provides a clear starting point for regaining clarity. Next comes acceptance. Accept that uncertainty is part of life. Everyone experiences moments of doubt and indecision. This does not mean you are incapable or unworthy. It means you are human. Accepting uncertainty allows you to stop resisting your feelings and begin engaging with your inner wisdom constructively. Resistance creates anxiety, while acceptance opens the door to reflection and insight. Reflection strengthens trust. Take time to consider past experiences, choices, and outcomes. Your inner judgment has been shaped by these experiences, and reflecting on them reveals patterns, preferences, and principles that guide you. Consider what has worked in the past, what has failed, and why. Reflection allows your mind to access accumulated knowledge and recognize the most reasonable path forward, even when the future feels uncertain. Listening to intuition is essential. Intuition is your mind and body processing experiences, values, and lessons in a way that goes beyond rational analysis. It often manifests as a quiet sense of knowing, a gut feeling, or a subtle preference. Pay attention to these signals, even if they seem minor or illogical at first. Ignoring intuition often leads to regret, while listening strengthens confidence in your inner judgment over time. Clarifying values guides decisions. When you feel lost, reconnecting with your personal values provides direction. Ask yourself what is most important: honesty, growth, freedom, security, or connection. Decisions aligned with your values rarely feel wrong. Your inner judgment is most accurate when it operates in harmony with your authentic priorities rather than external expectations or pressure. Practical decision-making tools reinforce trust. Break choices into manageable steps. List options, consider consequences, and evaluate alignment with your values. This structured approach supports your inner judgment by giving it space to operate clearly rather than being overwhelmed by ambiguity. Simple frameworks prevent analysis paralysis and create confidence that your decisions are deliberate and well-informed. Journaling enhances clarity. Writing thoughts, feelings, and options helps externalize internal conflict. By seeing your thinking on paper, you can identify patterns, priorities, and preferences that may be obscured by mental noise. Journaling strengthens your connection with inner judgment, provides a reference for reflection, and enhances decision-making accuracy during periods of uncertainty. Silence nurtures inner listening. In a world full of noise, your inner voice is easily drowned out. Set aside time each day for quiet reflection, meditation, or mindful breathing. Remove distractions and tune into your own thoughts and feelings. Silence creates the conditions for inner judgment to emerge clearly and assertively, allowing you to act from insight rather than reaction. Experience strengthens trust. Recognize that your inner judgment has been honed by years of living, learning, and growing. Even when feeling lost, your brain has accumulated knowledge, instincts, and lessons that guide decisions. Respect this experience and allow it to inform your choices. Confidence in your inner judgment grows as you repeatedly act on it and observe positive outcomes. Boundaries protect judgment. External pressures, criticism, and unsolicited advice can cloud your sense of direction. Establish boundaries that allow you to make decisions without undue influence from others. Listening to everyone else's opinions can create confusion and weaken self-trust. Protecting your personal space, mental focus, and time for reflection ensures your inner judgment is the primary guide. Small decisions build confidence. Trusting your inner judgment does not require making monumental choices immediately. Begin with small, everyday decisions: what to eat, how to spend your time, or how to respond to a challenge. Observing that your choices lead to positive outcomes reinforces confidence and strengthens the habit of relying on your inner wisdom in larger, more complex situations. Accountability reinforces trust. Share decisions with a trusted friend or mentor who supports growth rather than controlling outcomes. Accountability provides a check-in without overriding your inner judgment. Receiving feedback can help you refine your thinking while maintaining authority over your choices. Trusted support strengthens confidence rather than replacing personal insight. Resilience emerges through practice. Not every decision will be perfect, and mistakes are part of the learning process. Trusting your inner judgment includes owning missteps, learning from them, and adjusting future actions. Resilience grows as you recognize that errors are not failures, but lessons that refine intuition and strengthen decision-making abilities. Affirmations reinforce confidence. Remind yourself that you are capable of making decisions aligned with your values, experience, and insight. Positive self-talk strengthens belief in your inner judgment and reduces the tendency to second-guess or rely excessively on others. Over time, affirmations create an internal environment where your own guidance is valued and respected. Mindfulness enhances discernment. Pay attention to subtle cues from your body and mind when evaluating options. Notice tension, excitement, hesitation, or clarity. These signals are expressions of your inner judgment and provide insight beyond rational analysis. Mindfulness ensures you act from awareness rather than emotional reactivity or external pressure. Education complements intuition. Learning about decision-making, human behavior, and problem-solving provides practical tools to interpret information and navigate uncertainty. Knowledge enhances your inner judgment by equipping you with frameworks to evaluate options. Combined with intuition, education ensures your choices are both insightful and strategic. Visualizations strengthens outcomes. Imagine scenarios where you trust your judgment, make decisions with confidence, and navigate uncertainty effectively. Visualizing success primes your mind for action and reduces fear of the unknown. It also reinforces the connection between inner insight and practical execution, creating a feedback loop of confidence and competence. Self-compassion is critical. Feeling lost can trigger self-doubt or harsh self-criticism. Treat yourself with kindness, recognizing that uncertainty is part of growth and learning. Compassion allows you to engage your inner judgment without fear, shame, or hesitation, reinforcing trust in your own guidance. Reflection after action solidifies learning. After making decisions, take time to evaluate outcomes, process what went well, and identify lessons learned. Reflection strengthens future judgment by providing real feedback, reinforcing the connection between intuition, experience, and conscious choice. It ensures that each decision enhances your capacity to trust yourself even further. Trust grows through consistency. The more often you act on your inner judgment, the more reliable and confident it becomes. Each decision reinforces the habit of listening to yourself, observing outcomes, and integrating lessons. Consistency transforms uncertainty from paralysis into opportunity, ensuring that your inner guidance is your most trusted compass. Gratitude enhances perspective. Appreciate your ability to navigate uncertainty, the lessons learned from experience, and the capacity for insight. Gratitude reinforces positive reinforcement for trusting yourself and builds resilience against future doubt or hesitation. It strengthens emotional balance and reinforces self-trust. Empowerment is the natural result. When you trust your inner judgment, you take ownership of your life, decisions, and direction. Empowerment emerges as clarity replaces confusion, confidence replaces doubt, and action replaces hesitation. You become the primary authority in your life, relying on your own insight rather than external validation or advice. Decision-making frameworks support confidence. Even in moments of uncertainty, create structured approaches to evaluate options. List pros and cons, assess alignment with values, and consider potential outcomes. Structured methods support intuition, provide clarity, and reduce fear of making mistakes. Combining intuition with structured evaluation strengthens trust in your inner judgment. Boundaries reinforce authority. Protect your time, energy, and decision-making process from undue influence. Limiting external pressure allows your inner voice to operate clearly,
Respect for boundaries ensures that confidence in your judgment grows while avoiding confusion caused by conflicting advice or external expectation. Reflection on growth reinforces progress. Regularly evaluate how trusting your judgment has improved decision-making, reduced anxiety, and increased clarity. Observing growth strengthens the habit, builds confidence, and reinforces the understanding that your inner judgment is reliable and effective. Empowerment is strengthened through action. Every time you trust yourself, act decisively, and observe outcomes, you reinforce confidence in your capacity to navigate uncertainty. Empowerment is cumulative. Each successful choice strengthens belief in your judgment and prepares you for increasingly complex decisions. Practical exercises embed trust. Set aside time to evaluate decisions daily, consider options carefully, and reflect on past outcomes. Practice intuition, structured evaluation, and mindful reflection consistent. Over time, these exercises cultivate a reliable and confident inner judgment that guides actions effectively under any circumstance. Patience enhances insight. Trusting your inner judgment does not guarantee immediate clarity. Allow time for reflection, observation, and integration of experience. Patience ensures that decisions are thoughtful, grounded, and aligned with long-term goals rather than reactionary or impulsive. Trusting your inner judgment when feeling lost is not just about making choices, it is about reclaiming authority over your life. It requires awareness, reflection, patience, and consistent practice. By engaging intuition, evaluating values, establishing boundaries, and observing outcomes, you develop confidence in your own insight. Over time, self-trust becomes a foundation for resilience, clarity, and empowerment, allowing you to navigate uncertainty with calm authority, purposeful action, and unwavering belief in your own wisdom. When this principle becomes a daily practice, moments of feeling lost transform into opportunities for growth, learning, and insight. Decisions become deliberate, confidence becomes unshakable, and your inner judgment becomes a trusted guide in every situation. Trusting yourself is the pathway to authentic living, intentional choices, and a life of empowerment, clarity, and fulfillment.
Chapter 10. Lift yourself up when you catch negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is one of the most powerful barriers to personal growth, happiness, and success. It creeps in quietly, disguised as internal commentary, questioning your abilities, your worth, and your potential. You may not even notice it at first, but over time, it erodes confidence, drains motivation, and limits opportunities. Every person experiences self-critical thoughts at some point. The difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is how they respond when these thoughts arise. Lifting yourself up in the face of negative self-talk is not optional. It is essential for living a life aligned with your values, purpose, and potential. It is a skill that can be cultivated, strengthened, and applied consistently to transform the way you feel, act, and grow. The first step is awareness. You cannot address what you do not notice. Pay attention to your internal dialogue. Listen for thoughts that belittle your effort, question your competence, or exaggerate failure. Negative self-talk often manifests as statements like, "I am not good enough," "I always fail," or "I cannot handle this." Recognizing these statements is the foundation for change. Awareness allows you to separate your identity from these thoughts and observe them objectively. Next is acknowledgement. Accept that negative thoughts will occur. This does not mean you agree with them or allow them to define you. It simply means you recognize their presence without resistance or denial. Trying to suppress thoughts often amplifies them, while acknowledgement gives you the power to address them consciously. By acknowledging negative self-talk, you take the first step in regaining control over your internal world. Challenge the thoughts immediately. Ask yourself if these statements are true, accurate, or helpful. Often negative self-talk is exaggerated, biased, or based on past experiences that do not define the present. Evaluate the evidence objectively. For example, if you think, "I always fail," consider instances where you succeeded, learned, or grew. Challenging negative thoughts prevents them from dictating emotions, behaviors, decisions. Replace self-criticism with constructive self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, consciously reframe the thought into a supportive, solution-focused statement. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," say, "I will do my best," and learn from this experience. Positive self-talk is not about blind optimism, it is about empowerment and accuracy. It reinforces capability, builds confidence, and guides action. Focus on past successes to combat negative thinking. Remind yourself of challenges you overcame, goals you achieved, and obstacles you navigated. Reflecting on past achievements strengthens self-belief and reminds you that you are capable of handling current difficulty. Your history is evidence that you have skills, resilience, and determination to move forward even when doubts arise. Take action immediately. Negative self-talk often paralyzes, leaving you stuck in analysis or self-blame. Counteract this by taking a small, deliberate step forward. Action breaks the cycle of doubt and reinforces competence. Completing even a minor task or decision demonstrates your ability to move, despite uncertainty or fear, and it gradually reduces the influence of negative thoughts. Practice mindfulness to observe without judgment. When negative self-talk arises, pause and notice it without labeling yourself as weak or incapable. Observe the thought as a passing mental event rather than a definitive statement about your character. Mindfulness creates distance from harmful internal dialogue, allowing you to respond intentionally rather than react automatically. Gratitude shifts focus from deficiency to strength. Reflect on what is working in your life, the progress you have made, and the resources you possess. Gratitude interrupts patterns of self-criticism and emphasizes perspective. Focusing on strengths and opportunities strengthens self-esteem and reduces the emotional impact of negative self-talk. Set clear boundaries for external influences. Negative self-talk is often amplified by toxic relationships, critical feedback, or social comparison. Limit exposure to people, media, or environments that trigger self-doubt. Surround yourself with supportive voices that encourage, challenge constructively, and provide validation aligned with your growth. External support reinforces the internal work of lifting yourself up. Affirmations reinforce positive thinking. Regularly repeat statements that validate your worth, capability, and potential. Simple statements like, "I am capable of handling this," "I deserve success," or "I can learn from mistakes," gradually reshape mental patterns. Affirmations are most effective when paired with conscious action, creating a cycle of belief and behavior that strengthens confidence over time. Physical movement alleviates mental tension. Exercise, walking or stretching, can reduce the physiological effects of stress and anxiety that accompany negative self-talk. Physical activity releases energy, increases focus, and improves mood, making it easier to counteract self-critical thoughts with clarity and confidence. Movement is a practical tool for reinforcing mental and emotional resilience. Reflection on triggers enhances awareness. Identify situations, environments, or stressors that increase negative self-talk. Awareness of triggers allows you to prepare, adjust strategies, or create protective habits that prevent escalation. Reflection turns reactive patterns into proactive management, giving you control over internal responses rather than being controlled by them. Visualize success and capability. Imagine yourself handling challenges confidently, responding positively, and achieving goals despite doubts. Visualization strengthens mental rehearsal, trains the mind to focus on potential rather than limitation and reinforces positive self-perception. Practicing this regularly prepares you to confront real-life obstacles with resilience and clarity. Celebrate small wins. Each time you counter negative self-talk effectively, recognize the achievement. Even minor victories build momentum, strengthen confidence, and reinforce the practice of self-lifting. Consistently celebrating progress trains the mind to associate positive behavior with tangible benefits, making the process more sustainable and rewarding. Develop a support system. Engage with mentors, friends, or communities that encourage growth, validate effort, and model constructive self-talk. External support provides feedback, reassurance, and accountability, amplifying the internal work of cultivating a positive mental environment. A strong support network reduces isolation and fosters resilience. Learn from mistakes rather than condemning yourself. Negative self-talk often stems from focusing on failure as a personal flaw. Shift perspective to view mistakes as opportunities for learning and improvement. Ask what can be gained, how behavior can be adjusted, and what lessons can be applied moving forward. Constructive reflection transforms self-criticism into growth. Create a mental toolbox. Develop strategies to counter negative thoughts, such as deep breathing, visualization, journaling, affirmations, or positive reminders. Consistent use of tools ensures that you have practical methods to lift yourself up immediately when self-critical thoughts arise. A prepared mind responds effectively rather than reacting defensively or emotionally. Consistency is critical. Lifting yourself up is a daily practice, not a one-time effort. Each day, make a conscious effort to monitor internal dialogue, challenge negativity, and reinforce positive self-talk. Over time, this repetition rewires thought patterns, creating resilience and a stronger sense of self that is less influenced by fleeting doubts. Self-compassion reinforces growth. Treat yourself with kindness when negative self-talk occurs. Acknowledge that everyone struggles with doubt and fear. Respond with encouragement rather than condemnation. Self-compassion provides emotional support that strengthens confidence, reduces stress, and fosters a mindset oriented toward progress rather than perfection. Engage in reflective journaling. Writing about self-critical thoughts, reactions, and strategies for positive reframing enhances awareness and accountability. Journaling creates a record of growth, provides perspective, and reinforces the habit of lifting yourself up. Reviewing past entries shows progress over time, reinforcing belief in your capacity to overcome negativity. Mindful breathing reduces intensity. When negative self-talk peaks, pause and focus on deep, steady breath. This physiological reset calms the nervous system, improves focus, and creates mental space to respond constructively. Mindful breathing strengthens emotional regulation and ensures that internal dialogue is managed rather than suppressed. Visualization of ideal self-conduct reinforces confidence. Imagine responding to challenges calmly, making empowered choices, and reinforcing self-worth consistently. Visualization aligns mind and action, prepares you for real-life challenges, and strengthens belief in your ability to counter negative self-talk successfully. Education and learning reinforce perspective. Understanding psychological principles, cognitive biases, and human behavior provides context for negative self-talk. Knowledge reminds you that critical internal dialogue is common, often exaggerated, and manageable. This awareness reduces fear and fosters strategic responses that reinforce resilience and self-trust. Empowerment grows through practice. Each time you catch negative self-talk and replace it with supportive action or perspective, you reinforce control over your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Empowerment emerges from repeated success in managing internal dialogue, building confidence, clarity, and the ability to act decisively.
Self-reflection strengthens insight. At the end of each day, review moments when negative self-talk arose. Assess triggers, responses, and outcomes. Identify patterns and strategies that were effective. Reflection consolidates learning, reinforces positive behavior, and ensures continuous improvement in managing self-critical thoughts. Boundaries support mental clarity. Avoid environments, media, or relationships that intensify self-doubt unnecessarily. Protecting mental space allows positive strategies to take root and reduces the likelihood of negative patterns dominating thought processes. Healthy boundaries reinforce the internal work of lifting yourself up. Consistency of habits transforms internal dialogue. Daily attention to thought patterns, repeated use of tools, and conscious effort to counter negativity gradually creates an automatic response. Over time, positive self-talk becomes habitual, reducing the frequency, intensity, and impact of negative thoughts on confidence and action. Gratitude for personal growth shifts perspective. Recognize the ability to challenge self-critical thoughts as a skill and achievement. Appreciating your progress reinforces commitment, encourages patience, and strengthens belief in the potential for continued growth and resilience. Ultimately, lifting yourself up when negative self-talk arises is a transformative practice. It requires awareness, acknowledgement, challenge, action, reflection, and consistent application. By replacing criticism with constructive self-talk, focusing on growth, and nurturing resilience, you reclaim control over internal dialogue. This practice strengthens confidence, decision-making, and emotional stability, creating a foundation for personal empowerment, clarity, and fulfillment. When you consistently implement these strategies, negative self-talk loses its power. Your thoughts become allies rather than obstacles. You navigate challenges with confidence, act decisively, and maintain a positive, empowered mindset. Lifting yourself up is not an occasional effort. It is a daily commitment to self-respect, growth, and the belief that you are capable, worthy, and resilient in the face of doubt.